Greetings, good people. What's happening? My name is Dr. Clarence, and welcome back to TV7 Live, where we get to give you all the hottest and top trending topics, broadcasting live and direct from Zimbabwe, Africa. So it seems the protesting and the contesting of Emmerson Mnangagwa's ascension to the SADC chairpersonship is still continuing to happen. Now the question is, we are seeing the Democratic Alliance now voicing on this. Remember, the Democratic Alliance is a party to the South Africa's government of national unit. The question is, will this impact and what happens next? So we see them posting a full epistle on their official website and on their x.com accounts. Their claims that Mnangagwa rising to become the SADC chairperson, this may destabilize the region. But of course, this claim in particular is coming from none other than Susan Mutami, who writes, "Thank you, DA, for exhibiting proper leadership. This is exactly what I mentioned last month, that Mnangagwa is not fit to be given a rotational chairman of SADC. He will abuse that role and use it to destabilize the whole region. I put it to you that if that decision is not free," then she posts this link again. Now, what are the DA? What is the DA saying? They make a poster through Emma Lewis Powell, who is their member of parliament there, showing on the screen there. She is a spokesperson on international relations and cooperation. So they're calling on their Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola. All right, just before we proceed, enough respect to everybody who's watching us live, and thank you for watching TV7 Live. Before we proceed with this video, make sure you click the like button and subscribe to TV7 Live if you have not yet already done so that you never miss any of our videos. And to all the jealous losers, do not hesitate to leave a bad comment so that all the good people who watch TV7 Live can see what a jealous loser and a moron you are. Big up to Alan Saidi there watching us live. Anyways, let's jump straight in ahead. SADC Summit. Venue must be changed from Zimbabwe following clampdown on democracy activists by ZANU-PF regime. And then they mention who issued this document here. We're seeing it's on the DA official website, issued by Emma Louis Powell, MP, DA spokesperson on international relations and cooperation. The Democratic Alliance calls on Minister of International Relations and Cooperation Ronald Lamola to exercise South Africa's right as a member of SADC and urgently demand that 44th Ordinary SADC Summit of Heads and State scheduled to be held on 17 August 2024 in Harare, Zimbabwe, be moved to a different location. The DA makes this call following multiple reports of yet another state-sponsored clampdown on pro-democracy activists by a paranoid ZANU-PF regime, fearing public protests in the lead up to the summit. The SADC founding treaty mandates member states to act in accordance with the principles of human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. ZANU-PF illegitimate regime in Harare has yet again violated these principles with impunity in the lead up to the summit. Then they put this indent. Jameson Timber, together with 77 opposition activists, have been detained, held in horrific conditions, and reportedly denied bail after they were arrested for allegedly holding an authorized political meeting. Indent number 2. Recently, 4 democracy activists were taken off a plane at Robert Mugabe International Airport and charged with disorderly conduct for being part of a protest that demanded the release of 77 opposition party members who have been in pre-trial detention for over 6 weeks. By abusing state machinery to violate the rights of Zimbabweans, the unrepentant ZANU-PF regime has demonstrated that it is prepared to go to any lengths to violate the law in order to entrench its authoritarian rule. South Africa, and by extension, the SADC, have an obligation to hold the Zimbabwean government to account. Allowing the summit to proceed under the current circumstances will not only endorse ZANU-PF's flagrant abuse of international law, but further undermine the principles up which SADC was established. President Emmerson Mnangagwa's upcoming SADC chairpersonship is a testament to the continued failure of regional leaders to hold this political tag to account. South Africa, as a leading member of SADC, must now take a firm stand to uphold international law and advocate for the summit to be moved to a different location that upholds and respects democratic values. This action will send a clear message that South Africa, as a member of SADC, will no longer tolerate the suppression of democratic freedoms at our doorstep. Author Emma Louis Powell. Now, will this impact? How much impact will it have? We see it's not issued by the DA president directly himself, but it is issued by the Democratic Alliance. So, according to me, so far as this stands as is, the Democratic Alliance is appealing to the South African government. At the same time, they are posting this on their website so that people can see what they are doing. As a political party in the GNU, they would have made other efforts to speak to whoever is supposed to respond to them. Obviously, I'm basing this on what I will so-called common sense in a matter like this. Obviously, they have to engage them physically or in the traditional manner, since they are partners in governance. But anyways, we're seeing this coming from the Democratic Alliance, appealing to the Minister of International Relations, the South African Minister of International Relations, who is mentioned here, Ronald Lamola. Now, who is this Ronald Lamola? The Democratic Alliance does not have that position. Ronald Lamola, born 1983, age 40. Born 21 November 1983, South African lawyer and politician. Since 2019, member of National Assembly of South Africa since 2019 for the party African National Congress, ANC. He was Minister of Justice and Correctional Service between May 2019 and June 2024. So he is a member of the ANC National Executive Committee and National Working Committee. He has been previously involved in the ANC Youth League. So this is the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation in South Africa right about now, coming from the Youth League there at age 40. So, between 2011 and 2012, he is African National Congress Youth League deputy president. And at this time, he is deputizing Julius Malema, who is still with the ANC. So at one point, we see this guy was Julius Malema's deputy in the ANC Youth League. So it's an ANC guy. However, I'm not saying that I know which side he will be biased to. Okay. I don't know of that. Enough respect to Takunda Nashe Pamiwa. Says, has it been changed? Hope the heading is correct. The heading may not be correct, but it is not wrong. It reads, SADC Summit disputed. Then in quotations, venue change from Zimbabwe. Then the next line comes, South Africa foreign minister demands. So the wrong aspect there is South Africa foreign minister. I made a misreading there where the DA spokesperson on international relations and cooperation, there is DA spokesperson on international relations. So I'll sort that one out right now. And thank you very much for that note there. All right, I'm just responding to a knock at my door there. All right, yeah. So I'm just gonna there. I hope it updates in real time. Let me try to save it. Thank you for that. There. Enough respect to Nyamze. Nyamze. Germany, how are you? Enough respect to you there. How are you coping up there? Tafazwa Chigwiko says, hi, Doc, how are you today? Thanks for the updates every time and time. Thank you very much for that positive feedback. Need our power. Have DA any power to direct policy on international matters in SA? That's a very good question. I wouldn't know how much impact they have and how much agreement they are having within the DA themselves. So this is a very important aspect of determining how this goes forward. And also, if they all agree, it will then depend on their GNU agreement on how much can they blackmail the ANC. Big up to Ruth Mbewe. Good evening. All over the world. Enough respect there. Big up to Takunda Nashe Pembiwa. But anyways, as we are seeing right now, with the DA voicing on this is already an escalation to this protesting. So we can see these issues involving the prosecution of activists by the government, what it can lead to, the repercussions it can have on our nation. Over the years, many cases have led to things like that. So our government must learn, and we as a people must learn that these things can impact us. Of course, this is just a particular case. This is the SADC case. What else has happened in other cases in the past? I remember the time we were set to rejoin the Commonwealth. 40 human rights violations spoiled our chances at that time. Remember, Mugabe was not removed from the Commonwealth, but rather Mugabe removed himself from the Commonwealth. Now, the upcoming SADC scheduled for August 17, 2024 in Harare, Zimbabwe, has been surrounded by several controversies, particularly regarding the political climate in Zimbabwe and the organization's handling of electoral disputes. Now, I'm just going to list some of the main issues. Number one, crackdown on dissent. Ahead of the summit, the Zimbabwean government has intensified crackdown on opposition and civil society groups. This has resulted in the arrest of over 100 activists and opposition members, with authorities citing concerns over potential protests during the summit. Human rights organizations have condemned these actions, calling them a violation of basic human freedoms and an attempt to stifle dissent. Number two, political tension. The summit comes at a time of heightened political tension in Zimbabwe following President Mnangagwa's controversial re-election in 2023, which was criticized by various observer missions, including SADC, for not meeting regional standards. The legitimacy of the electoral process remains a contentious issue, with calls for SADC to address the ongoing political crisis. Number three, Zambia-Zimbabwe relations. The summit may also serve as a platform to address tensions between Zimbabwe and Zambia. President Emmerson Mnangagwa's recent comments about military equipment in Zambia aimed at Zimbabwe have led to diplomatic strains, with Zambia lodging a complaint with SADC. This situation adds another layer of complexity to the summit discussions. Number four, SADC tribunal issues. There are ongoing discussions about the future of the SADC tribunal, which has faced operational challenges and limitations since 2010. The summit presents an opportunity for SADC leaders to reconsider the tribunal's role and potentially reinstate its functions, which have been effectively suspended. The effectiveness of the tribunal in addressing human rights violations, particularly in Zimbabwe, remains a critical concern. So recently, we saw the SADC parliament being activated, with the last country signing. I'm not remembering the last one. Was it DRC or what? But they were signing something to get the SADC parliament into action. Now, this case of the SADC tribunal is the one that is supposed to be dealing with some of these issues. This organ had some powers and procedures in some matters, so it's not functional. I'm not sure since when has it not been functioning. A tribunal basically is a court set aside for specifics, like the labor court is a tribunal. So here he says, since 2010, faced operational challenges and limitations. Since 2010, I had not noticed that it's 2010, but I had read the entire script here since 2010. So usually when we read, we don't grasp main points. That's why sometimes when I get a key point, I repeat. Number five, calls for human rights advocacy. Human rights organizations are urging SADC leaders to take firm stance against the Zimbabwe government repression of dissent, to promote respect for human rights. There is a growing expectation that SADC should not only address the electoral disputes, but also advocate for the protection of civil liberties in Zimbabwe. Overall, the SADC summit is poised to be a significant event with implications for regional stability, human rights, and the future of democratic governance in Zimbabwe and the broader Southern African region. So this is what we are seeing right now, right here. Enough respect to everybody who's watching us live right about now. Big up to Tafazwa Chigwiko. How are you over there? Glotin Kiwane Rutenbewe. Takundwa na Shepamiwa. Thank you very much for that one. Anzi Natapera Makuyana says that is good for the people of Zimbabwe to advance. Dixon Zavini say Nkanyiso Moyo. Petronella Chiwocha says, I'm watching you live from South Africa. Richard Rashid Nkomo says, thank you for the update. And thank you very much for that positive feedback. Thank you also to Darlington Zinyemba. Everybody who's watching us live. Watching from SA Cape Town is Darlington Zinyemba. Temp Makuyana. Thank you very much for that one. Lindia Mtuze once again. Mutize once again. Thank you very much for that positive feedback. Anyways, with that, I'm going to sign out. We're going to wait to see what happens next. Watching from Harare, Budiro One is Fanuel Urukodzi. How are you? And how is it over there in Budiriro? As long as we just work, it's no Budirira. Because Takatu Budirira kungetiri popanyika panapa. With us just being created, it's a victory on its own. So it's up to us to believe, then to live in what's inside us. When we believe, we act on it, we live it, we work it, whatever it is. All right, to those who have EcoCash, if you want to get a quick loan online from $10 going up to 3 digits, I've put the link in the description box below. You can click that link. So it's simple. You just put your phone number, then you receive a text, then you just confirm you're the owner of the number, then you get some loan money. Remember, this is a weekend, so sometimes some emergencies may arise. You may have maybe emergency repairs and maintenances that you want to be doing at your home or at your work. So this can help. However, you have to pay back in 2 weeks. Enough respect to Joshua Kupisauro. Big up there. Tafadwa. All right, my network has dropped there while I was reading a comment. Tafadwa Chigiko there says, I'll be happy if they change this in our country. We need new elections before all this. Generally speaking, in Zimbabwe, we need new systems without any loopholes to see our laws in rule, to see the rule of law. Of course, the issue of changing the SADC venue, it's a humiliation to our nation. It is a very sad call we are seeing here during these uncalled for times. And it is very, very disturbing. The year is 2024. There are some things we shouldn't be struggling with. Let us come together. Let us dialogue. And let us find each other. With that, I sign out.